Ladies and gentlemen, there is a truth that we often ignore, a reality we hesitate to confront. Evil does not appear out of nowhere. It has signs, patterns, and characteristics that are visible to those who have the wisdom to discern. Too often we walk among the wicked, shake hands with the corrupt, and even welcome the malevolent into our inner circles. Blind to the signs that reveal their true nature. We live in a time when deception has been perfected, where wickedness wears the disguise of charisma, and where manipulation is dressed in the garments of influence. It is not enough to be cautious. We must be discerning. It is not enough to recognize the presence of evil. We must understand its patterns. Because evil is not just an action, it is a mindset, a spirit, and a force that seeks to corrupt everything in its path. History has shown us that those who destroy societies, betray nations, and harm the innocent all share common traits. They are not unique in their wickedness, for their nature has been revealed throughout the ages. These individuals, whether in positions of power, in our communities, or even in our personal lives, leave clues, signs that, if observed, can protect us from their influence. Tonight, I want to open your eyes to these signs. I want to equip you with the knowledge to identify them before they infiltrate your life. I want to show you what makes a person truly evil, not by what they claim to be, but by the undeniable markers of their character. You see, evil does not start in the actions, it starts in the heart. It is a seed, a way of thinking, a deep-rooted inclination that, when unchecked, manifests into destruction. And when we understand this, we will no longer be surprised when wickedness appears. We will already have seen the signs. So let us walk through the markers of an evil person. 7 undeniable signs, 7 warnings that should never be ignored. Open your hearts, open your minds, and let us begin. They are masters of deception. Evil people are not always obvious. They do not always come with a menacing look, a cruel voice, or an open display of wickedness. No, the most dangerous among them are the ones who hide in plain sight. Those who wear the mask of goodness while plotting destruction behind the scenes. They are masters of deception, architects of manipulation, and strategists of falsehood. They speak words that soothe while planting seeds of chaos. They smile while they steal, comfort while they corrupt, and promise hope while preparing ruin. Throughout history, the most wicked individuals have not always been those who openly declared their evil intentions. No, the most devastating tyrants, the most destructive manipulators, and the most dangerous leaders have been those who deceived people into following them. They promised peace while preparing war, pledged prosperity while planning oppression, and spoke of unity while sowing division. Their evil is not in their words, it is in their deception. A deceptive person knows how to appear righteous. They know how to say the right things, do the right things, and even pretend to care. But deep within, their heart is filled with selfish ambition, greed, and malice. They build relationships not to love, but to use. They offer kindness not out of sincerity, but as a tool for later betrayal. They pretend to be for you when in reality they are only for themselves. It is no accident that deception is often the first sign of an evil person. Deception is what allows them to infiltrate, to position themselves in places of power, and to gain the trust of those who would otherwise oppose them. Deception is what gives them access. The question is, how do you recognize deception? How do you see through the disguise? The answer is simple: consistency. A deceptive person cannot remain consistent over time. Eventually, the cracks in their lives begin to show. Their words and actions will not align. Their promises will not match their behavior. And when they are confronted, they will not admit fault. They will deflect, blame, or twist the narrative. So, be discerning. Do not be swayed by sweet words and polished appearances. Look deeper, because the first sign of an evil person is that they do not reveal who they truly are. They hide behind deception. And if you are not careful, you will only see the mask, not the monster behind it. They possess an unnatural obsession with power. Evil people are not satisfied with simple influence. They crave control. Power is not just a tool for them. It is their obsession. They do not seek leadership to serve. They seek it to dominate. They do not desire authority to guide. They desire it to oppress. Their hunger for power is insatiable, and they will do anything, lie, cheat, manipulate, and even destroy to maintain it. History has shown us that the most wicked figures were never content with what they had. They always wanted more. More authority, more dominance, more submission from those beneath them. They view people not as individuals with dignity, but as pawns in their game. Their thirst for control is not driven by a vision for progress, but by a deep-rooted insecurity, an inner void that can never be filled. They want to be worshipped, feared, and obeyed, and anyone who challenges them is seen as an enemy. One of the most dangerous aspects of an evil person's obsession with power is their ability to disguise it as leadership. They often present themselves as strong, decisive, and ambitious, convincing people that they are working for the greater good. But a closer look will reveal their true intentions. They do not empower others. They subjugate them. They do not build teams. They build followers who are dependent on them. They do not create opportunities. They hoard them. This obsession with power also makes them ruthless. They will betray friends, destroy reputations, and manipulate systems to maintain their position. They do not care about truth or justice, only about staying in control. They will silence those who oppose them, twist narratives to fit their agenda, and make sure that anyone who threatens their dominance is either eliminated or discredited. But how do you recognize such individuals before it's too late? Pay attention to how they treat those beneath them. Do they use power to uplift, or do they use it to intimidate? Do they listen to others, or do they demand unquestioning obedience? A true leader serves, but an evil person seeks to be served. A true leader builds others, but an evil person ensures that no one rises above them. A true leader embraces accountability, but an evil person demands blind loyalty. If you ever encounter someone obsessed with power, do not be deceived by their charm or their achievements. Look at their fruit. Because those who seek power for the sake of control will eventually turn that control against you. They lack genuine empathy. One of the clearest signs of an evil person is their inability to feel genuine empathy. They may pretend to care, they may know how to say the right words, but deep down, they do not truly feel for others. Their hearts are hardened. Their compassion is artificial. and their concern is only a tool to manipulate. They see people as objects, not as human beings. Empathy is what separates the good from the wicked. It is the ability to feel another person's pain, to rejoice in their victories, and to mourn in their losses. But evil people do not operate this way. They are indifferent to suffering unless it benefits them. They do not feel remorse for their actions unless they are caught. They do not truly rejoice in others' successes unless they can take credit for them. This lack of empathy is what allows them to commit horrible acts without hesitation. A person with empathy cannot steal from the poor, cannot lie to the innocent, cannot betray those who trust them without feeling guilt. But an evil person, they feel nothing. They justify their actions, they excuse their cruelty, they minimize the pain they cause, and worst of all, they shift the blame onto others. Such individuals are dangerous because they can appear warm and caring when necessary. They can cry fake tears, offer fake apologies, and even perform acts of kindness, not because they feel it, but because they know it will benefit them. They do not love, they manipulate. They do not care, they calculate. And if you are not careful, you will mistake their performance for sincerity. How do you recognize such people? Watch what happens when others suffer. Do they show true concern or do they dismiss it? Do they acknowledge pain or do they shift the conversation back to themselves? Do they take responsibility when they hurt others or do they gaslight and justify? These are the questions that reveal their heart. Never ignore a lack of empathy in someone's character, because a person who cannot feel for others today will not hesitate to harm you tomorrow. They delight in the suffering of others. A truly evil person does not just harm others, they enjoy it. They find pleasure in seeing people struggle. They take satisfaction in the downfall of others, and they secretly celebrate the pain they cause. This is not just a lack of empathy. This is a heart that is deeply corrupted. Such individuals may not always show their joy openly. They may hide their laughter behind a mask of concern. They may disguise their cruelty with words of justification, but deep down they revel in chaos. They do not want to see people succeed unless they can take the credit. They do not want to see people free unless they are the ones in control. If you ever meet someone who seems to enjoy watching others struggle, pay close attention. Do they mock the weak? Do they take advantage of the vulnerable? Do they celebrate others' failures? These are the warning signs. Because the final truth is this: evil is not just in what people do, it is in what they enjoy. They corrupt everything they touch. One of the most undeniable signs of an evil person is their ability to bring destruction wherever they go. They are not merely difficult people, they are destructive forces. Their presence brings division. Their words spread poison, and their influence turns what was once pure into something defiled. They corrupt friendships, workplaces, families, and even entire communities. Wherever they settle, disorder follows. This corruption is not always immediate. It starts subtly. They introduce small compromises, small deceptions, and small manipulations. They plant seeds of doubt, discord, and selfish ambition. At first, it may seem like nothing, but over time, their influence grows like a cancer, infecting everything around them. Before long, what was once a place of peace becomes a battlefield of conflict and confusion. A key characteristic of these individuals is that they never take responsibility for the destruction they cause. They will blame others, claim to be victims, and even accuse those who try to hold them accountable. They create problems and then act as if they had nothing to do with them. They stir up trouble and then stand back as if they are innocent observers. Evil people also corrupt through influence. They do not just destroy people directly, they inspire others to do the same. They convince good people to betray their values. They turn friends into enemies. They poison minds, break alliances, and create divisions where there were none. They thrive in chaos because chaos gives them control. How do you identify this trait? Look at their history. Do they leave behind broken relationships? Do they divide rather than unite? Do they twist truth into lies? Do they make good people behave in ways they never would have before? These are the signs of a corrupting force. The most dangerous thing you can do is assume that you are immune to their influence. No one is immune. That is why you must guard your heart, protect your mind, and distance yourself from those who bring corruption. Because if you let an evil person stay in your life long enough, they will not just corrupt what is around you, they will corrupt you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have uncovered the signs of the wicked, the markers of those who bring destruction rather than life. And now the responsibility is ours. The responsibility to recognize, to discern, and to act. Because evil thrives in ignorance and it flourishes where it is tolerated. You cannot afford to ignore these signs. You cannot afford to excuse them, because the cost of allowing an evil person to operate unchecked is always greater than the discomfort of confronting them. Evil does not self-correct. It does not disappear on its own. It only grows stronger when left unchallenged. We must open our eyes. We must sharpen our discernment, and we must have the courage to stand against the forces that seek to deceive, manipulate, and destroy. Some of you listening to me right now have people in your lives who fit these descriptions. You have seen the signs, but you have ignored them. You have made excuses, hoping that things would change. But I am here to tell you, they will not change. Because evil does not change, it only spreads. So I urge you, protect yourself, guard your heart, be wise in who you trust, in who you follow, and in who you allow into your inner circle. Because when you tolerate evil, you invite destruction. But when you expose it, you reclaim your power. May you walk in wisdom. May you walk in discernment. And may you never fall prey to those who seek to corrupt, control, and destroy. Thank you.